Well, for sure, nobody likes to talk about the partners than myself. So I'm very happy to have Roboyo as the co-sponsor of this event, because Roboyo combines business and technical expertise to change how the business are transformed and to change the way the processes of the business are working, and ideally realizing this at speed. And when we think about speed, one of the things that comes to mind might be the sound of... So this is my cue to let you know that Roboyo would want to announce their partnership with F1 Williams and invite you with this occasion to test out and use the simulators to play around with them. And so I'm happy to introduce you today to Iain and to Rob, and I will leave it to you to talk about the digital transformation of your valued customer, which is Siemens.
Thank you very much, Irina. Pleasure to be here. So Roboyo are a global market leader in hyperautomation. We're a global delivery partner for Druid, and it's nice to get the opportunity to be up here today to talk about an example of where we bring best-of-breed technology partners together to give our customers the best possible outcome. Welcome to Rob on stage from Siemens Digital Industries. Siemens, again, a big partner of Roboyo globally. Siemens are a powerhouse of an organization, huge, global, work in a lot of kind of different areas. Could you share a bit about Siemens Digital Industries and a bit more about what the organization does?
Yeah, sure. I think the first thing, though, is as a German organization, we're never going to have something called a megabot, which I think is incredibly impressive. Yeah, so Siemens, we are a global organization, over 300,000 employees. We're approaching now almost 100 billion of revenue. So, you know, where our mainstays are is really in creating the smart business, the smart buildings, and really the smart infrastructure. And you look at that across energy, you look at that across manufacturing. You know, we enable sort of ideas to become business outcomes, and that's the key part of Siemens.
Thank you. And alongside that, you have a range of technologies that you can offer customers, best of breed in lots of different areas: manufacturing execution, design, product lifecycle management. About 4 years ago, Siemens went off and acquired one of the market-leading low-code platforms. Can you tell me why that was?
Yeah, so if you think what Siemens does, they basically have stuff, and if you think about their things, and what actually drives things, it's applications. So Mendix, as an organization, is, in fact, I think Gartner's latest report came out on Friday last week, and we are very top right with no one anywhere near us as of now. So what do? We create, we're a low-code platform that creates applications, business outcomes, but we do this across all types of industry sectors, but also all types of technology types. There's lots of great stuff that was talked about today, and if you think about a sort of an ecosystem of environments where we can actually push technologies in terms of running things, but also enabling customers, enabling your internal organization. Siemens itself now has over 500 applications that are built on Mendix. So it's running pretty much everything that we say we do, and our customers.
And from a low-code point of view, I understand that, you know, it allows you to bring a lot of that kind of more fragmented ecosystem together, but from your perspective, some of the other kind of real key benefits of that kind of low-code approach into your customer base?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I think as I said, a lot of great things have been talked about today. The biggest thing is actually consumption. So how do you consume some of this transformational change? And everyone's got 5 of everything now. And when you think about most enterprises, well, they are by its very nature a heterogeneous environment. So it's about creating that ecosystem where you can build applications that shorten the timescale for your core applications, or create applications in some of the areas where you've got technology debt, or where you've actually want to push things to the AWSs or the Azures of the world or the Googles. So there's lots of different areas, and I see it as this fabric where you can start creating business outcomes, but really, really quickly. But in order to work in that fabric, you have to have lots of partners, and that's really making sure that you're working with the likes of Roboyos who can start helping us, integrate, the likes of Druid, where we can actually get some, AI coming through from the customer. But also, if we talk about Williams, making sure, and they always said, we're not going to buy anything unless it makes the car go faster. So that's the only thing that you do. So a tip for anyone that speaks to Williams, you just make the car go faster.
And that's a really good segue in. So, it was phenomenal for us to be able to announce that we are official digital transformation partner for Williams Formula One. Hugely exciting. I'm a huge petrol head, so that was fantastic. But you're quite right. Everything from a Formula One perspective, it's all about a cost cap. Everyone's working to the same financial barrier as all the other kind of Formula One teams. So what that's done is it's really kind of brought all of those teams together. They can't spend their way into performance anymore. They have to be far more careful about what they do. So in terms of process improvement, what they do, how they do it, doing it quicker, better, faster, in a leaner manner, the application of technology, what we're doing in conjunction with low code and Williams, that's phenomenal. And that's across kind of two different areas of the business. One is across the kind of pure manufacturing side, so helping them from a trackside operations point of view, make decisions far, far more quickly, far more effectively. But there's also the other side, and this is about customer engagement, brand awareness, extending what they do within the market, basically engaging with the youth of today to become the Williams Formula One supporters of tomorrow. And this is an area where both ourselves, Williams a big customer of Siemens, but also Druid, are beginning to work together to actually bring those kind of core technologies together to improve that overall kind of level of customer engagement and experience. Is that something you'd like to kind of tell a bit more about?
Michael from EY, I think some really good points there around, it's about the entirety of the process, and I think you can consume things in a sort of pace. And my advice as well is you don't try and boil the ocean, but have a framework to get there, because you can start delivering incremental value across different areas of your business. And I look at AI, for example, and low code as being, synonymous together to drive business outcomes. But there are so many facets of it. So you have the customer that generated AI, but you also have, and this is something that we're doing a lot of, is in creating an environment that's just as robust and innovative for your customers as it is internally to build applications. And this is something that organizations need to do, especially Williams and other, really at the edge of innovation organizations. You need to do things differently, and you need to do things quickly, and you need to build applications. So we say that we build better applications, but we build applications better as well. And using that capability to drive really at pace development of business outcomes that you can get out on the shop front really, really quickly. And it's a key area.
Yeah, and I think, again, looking at Williams is obviously a very interesting example, but we build applications for all kinds of organizations in all kinds of different areas. In terms of that kind of joining up, that combined value, we realized very, very quickly when working with Druid the amount of value that could add to the kind of applications we were building on behalf of our customers. Anything that's citizen-facing, customer-facing, supplier-facing, that additional level of engagement and control over that kind of end-to-end business journey. Again, would you like to kind of talk to us a bit more about some of those?
Yeah, I think one of the things there, it's like citizen development. It's interesting when we've been dealing with the analysts, citizen development is the taboo subject now. You can't be a citizen developer because it's actually creating it's not regulated, it's going outside of what the confines are of where an organization wants to be. So it's almost you have to get citizen style development within your application development teams. And that's something that is a real transformation of behaviors and actions and activities, and creating environments to build things better. We saw a great slide about, you know, bringing together. You've got the business, you've got development, and you've got actually your customer as well. And that entire ecosystem has to be brought into mind when you're developing anything. Yep. So it's all together now, and I think it's bringing it all together.
Very much so. And it's interesting the way that we've been seeing the market moving generally from a technology point of view. I think I mentioned earlier on that what we tend to work is we work across lots of different technology areas, but what we tend to do is we tend to work with what we believe are the absolute best of breed within those particular technology areas. What I've seen a lot of over the past 3 to 4 years is organizations trying to be everything to every person. So what you've got a lot of consolidation within the market, buying RPA vendors, process mining, you know, conversational AI technology. But what you tend to find from a personal point of view is that actually you have a weakening of the overall. And what we found is working with partners like yourself and with Druid, what you end up with is the best combination of the best technologies that, again, give customers the best possible outcome. You know,
absolutely.
Don't try and kind of compromise in the middle. Is that something that you would reflect on?
You'd think with an organisation like Siemens, with 300,000 employees and a development team that's probably half of that, that you'd think we would try and position ourselves as everything to everyone. We absolutely don't. And for us, our ecosystem, our partners, our delivery partners, our technology partners, our delivery of mass outputs partners, all of these are areas that we like to look at what is the best thing for the customer. And it's one of those things where you work with GSIs around the world. You've got to work on a basis of what's the best thing we're trying to do for a customer, and how do we get that put together into a seamless but operational product platform. And you go and speak to organizations, and the first thing you get is, oh, another platform, what does this one do? I've got 20 platforms, what do we need? But it's actually making sure that you're open, that you're integrated, and you're actually delivering the value that you say. And we always look at where we're relevant, and we make ourselves relevant by delivering applications that actually hit the key KPIs of that organization. And when you hit the key KPIs of an organization, you are relevant. And I think relevance now is where you're getting a place up on the budgets of big customers, because there's lots of money to spend everywhere, but not unless you're in that priority of top 2, 3 big programs. And for me, that's key. And I think AI, you look at all the stats, AI, low code is going to be used by 80% of organizations by 2026. AI is one of the biggest topics for all CIOs. And I think you bring all of this together and you start merging all of these capabilities and you start creating fireworks.
Thank you for that. So again, from our perspective, we're in early stages of our journey between the parties and what we're doing for Williams. We hope when you invite us to your next event, we'll have some more information to share, which will be quite exciting. I think from our perspective, what we can share kind of shorter term is a lot of the work we've been doing in the background between Siemens Digital Industries and Druid. There will be some official connectors being announced soon. So actually, in terms of that time to value, customer satisfaction, being able to get more, in a shorter space of time, there'll be some exciting announcements being made over the next couple of months. Thank you very much for taking the time to spend with us. Are there any questions from anyone on stage, off stage? Please.
Where is the C-suite getting the education they need generally? Because obviously, Siemens is huge, massive,
Yep.
but there's a massive gap between there and there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just interested in, it looks like people with AI won't be replaced by AI, people without it. So to companies without strategies around AI will be replaced or acquired or end their days. So I just wonder, what do you see as the education process for people at that level that need to understand what's coming?
Yeah, it's a great question, by the way, because when you look at any innovation wave, it is the cycle that you go through in educating the market first. And this is why when we position any of our capabilities, we do look at what are those key KPIs for the business. And the only way you resonate with them is by everything you're doing is to get a business outcome that leads to 500 million net new revenue, or, you know, I need to get, financial services piece, I need my combined operating ratio brought down to 91. When you start talking about those things, we are not a tactical solution. And I think this is the key, is when you're looking at adopting low code, for example, it is a strategic initiative. You are changing the way your organization develops applications. And that is a top level discussion. And we have customers that have 5,000 developers, right? So trying to position, hey, go and buy some low code, that isn't going to work. But what will work is actually saying, right, on average, you 5,000 developers, but you produce that go into production about 3 applications every 2 years with 5,000. So what about if you create smaller teams that are building 20, 30 applications that go into production every year? You know, you've got all of this firepower behind you to start innovating, and then you can start looking at all the really great stuff about my customers and, you know, AI, and how am I driving that, and how can I then differentiate and innovate towards my customers. And it's these things you have to resonate with to be relevant.
Yeah.
Does that answer that?
Yep.
Cool. I think the one thing I would add to that, just a bit tongue-in-cheek, is when you talk about large organisations and trying to educate them on the art of the possible, I know when we started our journey with Siemens, that's a behemoth of an organisation. So actually, you know, talking about drinking your own champagne and getting an understanding about the art of the possible would be fair to say it took Siemens generally as an organisation time to get their head around.
However, if you'd come at me and said, you know, we've got some megabot, you'd have had me at that. So,
Thank you for that. Any other questions?
I just got a question around, so when you position yourselves to automate kind of an end-to-end process to a business, so that business has probably got, obviously they will have got underlying workers who are doing something repetitively, you know, spending most of their time to get things, you know, from point A to point B. So the challenge comes from these workers. Are we going to get replaced?
yeah,
so how do you navigate through that challenge?
It's a great question, and if you go to different countries, you've got different regulations that you need to go through, because, you know, Germany, for example, with workers' councils, it's impossible to talk about anything like that. So what we do is we talk about the outcome and the value. We're not talking about displacing people, right? It's not my job to find the operational savings. It's my job to show the business outcome and the value that you can create through an end-to-end hyper-automated process. And hyper-automated is really bringing in all parts of the organisation. And this is why I say you can't be tactical when you do these things. It has to be strategic. And, you know, one of the oxymorons in life is, how do you get a GSI to work with a low-code platform? How do I get Roboyo to say, work with me because you can sell less people and you can do more? But it's about, actually, we can then, Roboyo differentiate because they're creating more value quicker, and they're creating more value in areas. I mean, if you look at any organisation, they've got 1,000 years of backlog of innovation that they need to do. Go and do some of that, right? So we can do the stuff that is relevant and for the board and the outcomes of the business, but there's still 1,000 other things that we need to do. So I get your point, but it's not for me to interpret. It's for the organisation to interpret that. And of course, one of the things, and it happens every year, is people consolidate and people have, look at the biggest cost usually to their organisation, which is people.
Thank you for the question. We're getting the signal we've been talking too long. So, yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.